Let's hope it stays up this time. Morning, Stephen. Morning, Lorraine. Morning, Barbara. Morning, Ali. Morning, Dunk. Morning, Fiona. Morning, John. Morning, Brian. Who we got on the other side? Hi, Tina. Hi, Alexander. Hi, Marlon. Ian. Nancy. Billy. Diane. Rosalind. Numbers are climbing well. Sarah, good morning.
Morning, honey.
If you hear Madam Director stomping about in the background, it's because we're getting cleaned up and ready for Christmas, and I've got a studio to decorate. Okie dokie. Right. We're almost there. We'll get this broadcast underway. Morning, John. And Aaron. Morning, Paul. Morning, Mark. That numbers are climbing nicely. Morning, Chris. Morning, Alison. How's things up there? Bloody cold, eh? Well, we'll talk about the weather in a wee second. Alright, that's 100 of you on board, so let's get this broadcast underway. It's Indy Truck Davey out the truck, not home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is partly cloudy, 8 degrees. Massive swing from this time last week in temperature. 18 degrees swing, actually. But that's the weather forecast for Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. You want to know what the weather's like where you are? Look at your rain, bloody windy. Alright. Now, today's programme is going to be slightly different as I ease myself back in. I'll talk about some of the big stories we didn't cover last week because I wasn't broadcasting last week. Okay, so the big stories, what were they? We'll get demonising of the trade unions, demonising of the nurses. We'll get immigration back on the cards, the royal dead cat on the cards, Scottish Government budget, and I think it was COP17 in Canada, the one that deals with preserving the planet's ecosystems. We'll get to that towards it, finished up at the weekend there as well, so we'll get to that towards the end of the programme. So let's start on the demonising of the trade unions. Okay, now, in Scotland and Wales, the government have taken a sensible track and have sat down with the trade unions and tried to negotiate within their devolved settlements. Whereas down that road in Westminster, they've decided that they're not going to deal with the trade unions at all. They won't sit down and deal with the RMT. They won't sit down and deal with the Royal College of Nurses. They won't sit down and deal with any of the trade unions who have a dispute with the government over pay and conditions. Refusing point blank to do so. So what is the UK government's answer to striking public servants down that road? Well, their answer is to replace those public servants with other public servants, i.e. soldiers, military personnel. And the other thing they plan to do is restrict the trade unions' ability to strike. That's another blow on civil liberties and another blow on democracy. Especially as Mick Lynch has pointed out that Keir Starmer is just a mirror image, and his party is just a mirror image of the Tory parties. They're not on the side of the people. So there's no democratic outlet in the Parliament for the people to display their displeasure. So it's having to be done in the form of industrial action. This leads to union leaders being personally attacked. The head of the RMT, Mick Lynch, is getting it. But so is the head of the CWS, the head of Unison, the head of Unite, the head of them all, actually. But Mick Lynch is especially getting it. He's been called Mick Grinch, the man who's disrupting Christmas. He's no. The Transport Secretary, by refusing to sit down with the rail workers and telling the rail companies not to settle with the rail workers, which is exactly what's going on, means that these industrial disputes in that road can't be settled. Mick Lynch points to Wales and Scotland and says that's the way it should be done. Government should sit down with the trade unions and discuss and come to settlements the way they are here in Scotland and Wales. And here in Scotland and Wales, they start off with high demands, but by the time they sit down with the government lays the books out in front of them and say, look, this is what we've got. And it's been affected by inflation, and it's been affected by the fact that it's fixed. So let's sit down and discuss. But Lynch, no, Lynch is the man who stole Christmas. The Tories have their tabloid press attack the man and say that he is killing off the Christmas holidays. Here's a wee secret for you folks. If it wasn't for the fucking trade unions, there wouldn't be any Christmas holidays. There wouldn't be any annual leave whatsoever. There would be no paid leave when a relative passes. There would be no maternity leave, paternity leave. There would be no pensions. There would be no weekends. There would be no workers' rights whatsoever. And what's interesting about the attacks on the trade unions, it's a forerunner for what's coming. We all know that they intend to have a bonfire of regulations, EU regulations are saying, by the end of 2023. And workers' rights are in there. The Working Time Directive, health and safety, the rights to a contract, weighing out your terms and conditions, all under attack. Now, I've never been that big a trade unionist, but I understand the strength in collective bargaining and understand the strength in collectively protecting the rights that have been fought for so hard down through the years by us, the people, to ensure that there is a bit of work-life balance. At this point in time, there is no equality in the labour market, but, you know, what little's left of our working rights, that wee bit that provides us with a bit of work-life balance, that's under attack, and so is health and safety. So, the strikes down that road, and up here, of course, because the teachers are still on strike up here, are still taking strike action up here. They had big stories last week. Now, as we all know, tragically, some more people have lost their life trying to cross the English Channel and to reach the UK to seek asylum. Some people died in a small boat on the way there in a small boat last week, and that brought it to the head, and there was a debate on it in the Parliament, and I'm still feeling ill from it. Tory after Tory after Tory stood up and called these people immigrants. No asylum seekers, no refugees, but illegal immigrants. It's not illegal to seek asylum. Nobody wants to be a refugee. So what's the answer? The answer coming from Mr. Sunak, the English Prime Minister, is to break international law and to introduce laws which will more or less kibosh the right to claim asylum. The UK government signed up to the UN Charter on the rights of the refugee and the rights to claim asylum. They're about to break international law by legislating against that international agreement that the UK is part of. But as I say, the immigration thing's a bit like a dead cat on the table to distract us all from the misery that's going on round about us. Tragic that these people have had to die to try and get you to seek asylum. Now, the answer, of course, is not to introduce new laws to break international treaties. The answer, of course, is to open up safe avenues for people to apply for asylum in the continent of Europe. So there should be a centre at Calais. There should be a centre, say, Paris. There should be centres all the way across Europe, so that when people get onto mainland Europe and they declare their destination is to come here, then they should be pointed in the direction of an embassy, which should be staffed in order to be able to accommodate taking these people's claims and processing them. Those who pass get access and get safe travel to these shores. Those who don't are told, sorry, you don't meet the criteria, apply here, apply somewhere else, but you don't meet our criteria. That's the way to stop people traffickers. That's the way to stop people try to cross the channel in small boats at great peril to them and their families. And that's what should be done to stop people, traffickers, for exploiting these people and charging them fortunes to put them in these dangerous small boats and to send them across the sea. But no. The racists have to be accommodated for down that road. Some of the bile that was coming out down that road was absolutely disgusting. And it makes no sense, because one of the other big headlines last week was 500,000 UK residents become inactive in the labour market. In other words, those who have saved hard and could afford to, during the pandemic and the lockdown, have decided, bugger it, I'm going to draw down my pension, I'm just giving it up. Terms and conditions are crap, price crap, I've saved hard, I've got enough to chuck it. So they're chucking it. Now, we have a massive problem in the labour market, and that could be sorted out with these people coming across the water. Get them processed, give them the right type of remain, and get them into the labour market. Plug some of the gaps, some of the skills gaps. I mean, these people that are coming are young and fit and eager. They're no economic migrants, though. They're still fleeing persecution and things like that. And even if they weren't economic migrants, we've got huge problems in the labour market, apparently. Don't get me wrong, I'll level out because of Brexit and because of the recession. But we still need more people in the labour market. So to demonise those trying to get here to seek asylum, well, what we really should be doing is, come on in, we'll build houses, we'll build communities, we'll build facilities, and we need you in our labour market. We need you paying taxes to pay for public services and to follow rules that we can't follow ourselves because we have an aging population. And those of us who have been able to save over these years have went like that during the pandemic. Bugger it. I've had enough. I've hit 55, I can draw my pension, I can buy an annuity, I can live without having to go to work, or I can live on part-time work. So, as I say, that's another one of the big stories that goes along with the immigration story, is a problem in the labour markets. And it's been caused by Brexit, and of course, people who have saved hard through their lives, haven't had a hard time in the pandemic, went, bugger it, I'm taking my pension, I'm chucking it. Mental. Right, so the immigration thing was back on the cards last week, and some of the bile coming out of Westminster was enough to make me sick. Really, really sick. And during that whole debacle last week about immigration and the rights of the asylum seekers, or the rights to seek asylum, you know, it was also claimed by a Home Office minister, junior minister, that the idea of putting people on planes and shipping them to Rwanda is popular. Tries to make it up as they go along. It's the same as the figures are quoting for giving the nurses a decent settlement down that road in the NHS. They're claiming 700 million is for every 1% that they demand. Well, so what? Just shut the loophole in taxes. Make non-doms pay tax. Make sure people can't stash their money offshore. Tax it all. Raise taxes. We'll get a wee bit more of that. We'll get the Scottish budget later in the programme, actually. So, problems in the labour market and immigration troubles. So, and apparently England's full. It's no. England's nowhere near full. I've travelled the place regularly in the trucks. Plenty of wide open spaces. Plenty of places where you can settle a community, grow a community, which is the right thing to do, but they don't want to invest in infrastructure. They don't want to invest in public services. Remember, these things pay for themselves. As your population grows, your tax base grows. And when you build a bit of infrastructure, you haven't spent any money. You've just, all you've done is turn it into an asset. So some of the crap that's coming out down that road to our immigration, and of course to our pipe, is absolutely outrageous. And of course, we know that there's always money for vanity projects, like HS2, or the Jubilee line as they're now calling it, or war in Ukraine. No money to pay public servants, no money to stop people from starving, no money to build infrastructure, housings and communities to house the people that want to come here to help our ailing workforce. No, none of that stuff. Huh. But a choo-choo train for 150 billion quid to get you 25 minutes quicker from London to Birmingham, aye, that'll do. You could probably do that with sorting out the bloody railway line as it is, without having to build a new track. Mental. Also last week, the Royal did cats on the table to distract us all from poverty, cost of living crisis, energy cost crisis. So, Stushy, between Harry and Meghan, and William and Kate, Charlie sitting at the top of the tea like a prat, and wondering what to do about his sons. That's all splashed all over the place. The worst that it came, the really worst that it came for Jeremy Clarkson at the end of the week when it comes to the royal stories. We all knew he was a racist, misogynist twat. Excuse my language. We knew that. We've heard the way he talks about the Welsh, the Scots, the Irish, anybody actually. Him and Prince Philip would have got on well. But his sexual fantasies being printed in the newspapers. He lies in bed at night gnawing his teeth, thinking about Meghan Markle being paraded through the streets of the UK naked, with people shouting shame and throwing excrement. I nearly said shit there. Excrement at her. What a pervert. Wow. That's his dream at night, is it? Seeing a young lady of colour, which doesn't meet that racist qualification as a princess or a duchess, want to throw excrement at her naked in the streets. Oofed. By the way, I hope you do realise that what's the demonising of Miss Markle, the Duchess of Wessex or whatever she's called, is actually because Harry and Meghan had the audacity to take on the press on how she was being treated by the press because she's coloured. Let's no kid on here. Because she's African American. She's no one of the white elite. Shouldn't be there. So the press have been attacking her. And her and Harry stood up to him. And this is the result. Frothing idiots like Clarkson being given column space to spew his racist, sexist, pervert opinion across these islands and Rupert Murdoch's rag. Oh, folks, how low can you go? How low can you go? And there will be come back to Clarkson, he'll probably show up in the papers yesterday or the day and say he's sorry. Didn't mean it. Don't know. I had the dizzy turn. Terribly sorry. So, there are ramifications for him. He's not getting sacked as a columnist, at least not right away. They'll allow his contract to wind down. Will it affect his TV career with Amazon? Nah. Clarkson's big bucks. They're always a racist, misogynist git. Unbelievable. So that was another wee diversion to take our eyes off the poverty figures and things like that that have been coming out lately. Take our eyes off the fact that we can't afford our really flaky bills, can't afford to fill the fridge. A lot of people are going to go without anything this Christmas. The rising amount of homeless people. The increase in unemployment. And even those in employment are on strike because they can't afford to feed themselves, their kids, and run their households. But that's what the royal push is all about. But it really did get to the bottom of the barrel, and when we scraped through the bottom of the barrel, what was there? Clarkson. Lower than the snake's belly. And a fine example of how not to be a man. Fine example of how to be a racist, misogynist twat, but a fine example of how not to be a man. Mental. Right, also last week, that brings us on to Scottish budget. David and I were supposed to discuss it on Sunday, but David's got a busy couple of weeks because he's got family and that coming round, whereas Sarah and I, we're just business as usual. So I'll be on, folks, and we'll be back to the normal format tomorrow. And of course, as you know, there will be the Christmas Day special for all of you who will be on your own. Sarah and I will vote each other, but we'll also be on our own. That's through choice. I could have went to my brother's. We could have went out to a restaurant. We could have went away for the weekend. Could have done anything. But going to be here running the show, putting on a wee show for yourselves. So I'll get the studio decorated, looking a wee bit Christmassy. And hopefully we can have a great chat on that day. Right, let's move on to last week in the Scottish budget. Madam Director getting into the shot. I'm just telling people that was you getting into the shot. Well, anyway, the Scottish budget. Wow, the ramifications of it were mental, eh? Now, the people of Scotland, in poll after poll after poll, when asked if they were willing to pay more tax for better public services or to maintain a good level of public services, have repeatedly said yes. John Swinney altered the tax bands for the three highest tax rates and left the other two, the two lowest tax rates, stagnant. And the papers went bananas. Didn't they? High earners to flee Scotland. Let's get to facts here, folks. All right. Fact is, even if they wanted to flee Scotland, they can't sell their big houses, they can't lift their businesses and relocate them. And even if they could lift their businesses and relocate them in England, guess what? There's a labour market shortage. They'd be there to employ. People here in Scotland are not going to flee because their income taxes went up a penny and a pound. If you're on the highest band, I think your income tax went up a couple of grand a year. And the lowest band is up to nothing. In the middle range, it's maybe £1,000 a year. You know, it's how the tax rate works. Up to X amount, you pay that amount. Up to X amount, you pay that amount. X amount, up to X amount, you pay that amount. Then on anything other that, you'll pay a wee bit more on the gaps between the brackets. You're up in increments as you go through each band. Nobody's fleeing the country because of it. They're not selling their big houses. They're not getting up their free medication, the better NHS, the free education, higher education for their children, cheaper council tax, good infrastructure. They're not getting any of that up to go and live down that road. Let's face it. What we put up in income tax here is probably less than what they need to pay in increased council tax down that road. Wow. Own a property the size that they own at the moment. So all this scaremongering in the paper about the rich are going to get up and flee. Don't want a door hit you in the arse on the way out, but we'll see you on the way back in again. You realise how much more expensive it is to live in England. and how little benefit you get for the tax that you're paying in England compared to the benefits you get for the tax you pay here. And of course, you get better business rates and things like that here in Scotland. So why would you uplift your business and go and pay higher business rates and things like that in England? You wouldn't. Scaremongering pish. Also in the budget, they talk about cuts to the NHS budget and cuts to the education budget. Strictly speaking, that's not true. The truth of it is, inflation means that the budget they've got is not gone as far. So, in real terms, they're still getting the same money. It just means that because they increased costs, like having to run the heating and lighting in schools and hospitals, means that the money hitting the front line is less, because infrastructure is going to be serviced and maintained. And the cost of all that's just went through the bloody roof. So even though the budgets haven't really changed in the numbers, how much you can buy with that money has changed, thanks to the idiocy of the idiots down the road. And of course, with the cuckoos and the nest screaming, "Full, full, full, Scottish budget cuts, Scottish budget cuts, SNP bad, Scottish government budget cuts." But while the cuckoos and the nest are screaming that in our compliant propaganda machine, the press, while they're doing that, we all sitting here at home know that the reason why there's cuts here in Scotland is because there's cuts being made to the Scottish government's budget by their imperial masters in Westminster. Absolutely mental. Is there anybody in Scotland stupid enough not to know that Westminster's cutting their budget? Therefore, services here have got to be cut, tailored and changed. Is there anybody that thick out there? If there is, stick a yes in the comments. I won't believe you're that thick, but stick it in the comments anyway. Okay. So, Sarah's going to type yes into the comments, apparently. Anyway, this also leads to speculation in the press about larger class sizes, less teacher numbers, less classroom assistants. Father, listen, folks, I'm not in the habit of bullshitting yous. I tell yous, back at the beginning of the pay disputes here in Scotland, that they will get the settlement they're looking for, or a compromise settlement, but services will have to be cut. Well, this is the bloody reality of it now. Will class sizes become enormous? Nah. Will there be less teaching assistants? Yes. Will there be less courses? Might have to be. The wee guy in Loch End Secondary might have to go to Westwood Secondary to do his history course. But hey, doesn't he actually have to leave the classroom? The pandemic taught us that one teacher can be in front of many, many monitors. Just stick them in the science lab with their laptops, hook them up via Teams, Zoom, Restream, you name any streaming platform you want, and one teacher can cover a dozen schools. That means all you need is a teaching assistant to ensure the classes are actually paying attention. So there are technical answers to the problems that education is facing. Even more difficult in the NHS, but there are technical answers to the problems that reduced budgets and increased costs of running schools might bring in the future. Might bring. Remember, this is all speculation in the press. But if that means a history teacher at Loch End has got to do the history class at Loch End, at Westwood, at St Leonard's, and at St Paul's and St Mary's, just made them up by the way, then it can be done. It can be done. We learnt that during the pandemic when we were schooling kids in their own homes in front of laptops. It can be done. Okay. What else did we have last week? It was revealed that Jeremy, the Tory Hunt, will have his spring budget on the 15th of March 2023, where he will slash public service spending again. So Mr. Swinney's budget will be getting altered again. Or maybe Kate will be back today at this time. She's been on maternity leave a while. I don't know how long maternity leave is. Sue and I don't have any children, as you know. Okay. Also last week, we had the banks telling us and building societies, real estate agents telling us that the arse has fell out the housing market. People don't want to borrow because of rising interest rates, and we know they're not finished rising yet. They're expected to get to 4.5 by March. It's 3.5 now, so there'll be a couple of more small incremental rises over the next wee while, probably of 0.25%, but they're still rising. And of course, banks are no lending because we're getting into a recession. And when you're in a recession, people lose their jobs. In fact, we're getting into depression, into a recession, but people lose their jobs. They can't pay back the borrowing that they've got, so the banks are just not lending. Banks are no lending, people are no selling, people are no buying. Houses are not getting sold, nobody's. And people are getting negative equity there and all. So, real trouble in the housing markets. Not good. But that's only one sector. When you look at the UK economy sector by sector, with the exception of London banking, it's all a shambles. Aging infrastructure, no access to the biggest market that we had anymore. So sector by sector, food, health, education, transport, agriculture, could go on. We're all going to suffer. So the banks can see this coming down the line and they're not lending money. Hello. What is happening, of course, is the fat cats that have got money are getting wealthier. Because as the banks repossess properties and people give up the properties and on the back of the banks, these are the only people with any money to go along and buy them up. So slum landlords are on the cards. Because as we know, the Tories voted down a bill in England and Wales which would have made it a legal requirement for housing to be of livable standards for human beings. They've decided they can just live in hovels down that road. And while we're on housing, up here in Scotland, the First Minister's been accused of destroying the rental market because of the freeze on rents until April. First Minister doesn't want poor people put in the streets in the middle of winter. So rents are frozen here and evictions are kiboshed here until the winter's out. But the First Minister, of course, has been blamed for wrecking the rental market. You can't believe this push. We have a well-being First Minister. A First Minister who actually has protection of the people as her number one priority. Trying to build a well-being society where we look after each other. We don't bugger, we don't con each other with sky high rents and inadequate accommodation. Where we have decent public services. Where we invest in our children's future. Where we invest in social care when we get older. That way we will never be without the care that we need. Things like the baby box as well, increased early learning to give kids the best chance in life. The things that this particular SNP government, Green government now, because it's a coalition government now, have done for the well-being of the people of Scotland is absolutely fantastic. For a 10-year council tax freeze, now we'll get a rent freeze, we've got the baby box, we'll get free transport for the 12 to 23-year-olds, help them get on with their education and help them get on with learning. And those who go into apprentices and things like that to ensure that they're not whacked, because after all, they're only getting paid £3 or £4 an hour apprentice minimum wage. You know, we have a really caring First Minister who cares for the people, and that's why we have a rent cap. That's why evictions are frozen during the winter months. That's what you want in a leader. You want a compassionate leader who understands the people and the problems of the people, and that's what we have. You know? So, that's the problems in the housing market. Apparently up here it's the First Minister's fault. Because she's put a rent cap on until April and she's banned evictions till April. Wow. What else did we have? Aye, back here in Scotland last week, we had 6 polls in a row, put yes in front in the Scottish debate. And it's a debate that's not going to be no matter what Westminster thinks. And somebody better phone Alistair Union Jack and tell him we've found his duck. Because it's beginning to walk like a duck, quack like a duck, waddle like a duck. It's a duck. 6 in a row. And it's going to go on like that. So it is. It is going to go on like that. As things get worse in the world. And what's interesting about the Scottish Green government is they're telling us the truth. Well, the tabloids and the propaganda machines bollocking and bullshitting us, they're standing up and saying, listen, this is going to get worse. These idiots doing that road have dragged us out the biggest market, the biggest trading block on the planet, the wealthiest trading block on the planet. Meaning, the economy shrinks. When the economy shrinks, people go into poverty. But we have a government here telling us the bloody truth. Instead of a pie in the sky bunch of loonies doing that road, promising sunny uplands and 2 world wars and a World Cup. Whatever the fuck that means. Mental. So 6 polls in a row put us in put yes in front. And apparently that's going to me in trouble. A friend of mine yesterday, I put a post about this, a friend of mine yesterday put up a thing, what's the upper party's alternative? And he didn't get an alternative, he got abuse. And when I said there isn't an alternative with the upper party because they have no elected representatives and only 6,000 members, I took dog's abuse. Folks, I'm not going to stop telling the truth. I'm not going to stop telling the truth. I don't know how many times I've got to say this. I'm no anti-Alpha at all. I'm just a bloody political realist. I deal in realities. They've no elected representatives. They've only got 6,000 in following membership. And they're noisy. Good on them. I defend their right to exist because it's a democracy and we welcome all voices in the democracy. And I defend the right to campaign, to win votes. The fact that they're not actually campaigning to win votes, they're just campaigning to put down the First Minister and put down Scottish Government achievements is a different matter altogether. But I'm not going to stop looking at the facts, Alpha Party members, whether you like it or not. There are 2.6 million new, roughly, yes supporters at 56%. And you're 6,000 of them. With no elected representatives, that makes you irrelevant. When you stop being irrelevant, I'll start saying so. But keep up your noise. You can attack me all you want. Attacking me doesn't change the facts. You're irrelevant in our movement. You're not a pressure group because nobody's listening to you. Nobody. 0.6% of vote, or 0.16% of vote, or 1.6% of the vote, and 2% of the vote. The Lib Dems are polling more than yous. The Lib Dems get more officials than yous. And they're irrelevant. What makes you think you're special? I'm not going to stop telling the truth, Alpha Party, just because you don't like it. And attacking me because that's the truth. No point in attacking me. Maybe if you change your line of campaigning to actually putting a prospectus in front of people they might want to vote for, instead of just Alpha for Independence and SNP bad. I'm not voting for that. I want a prospectus in running schools, building houses, looking after infrastructure, running the NHS, increasing the economy with what little powers we have under the devolution settlement. I want a prospectus laid out in front of me, no a sign on a lorry trailer on the side of the M8 or the M80 that says Alpha for Independence. 2.6 million years for independence. Wow. And you 6,000 think you're special. Oofed. Mental. Keep going, Alpha Party, I love it. I also get told I'm getting too big for my boots and I'm self-important, folks. As you already know, I don't share my videos. I don't promote myself. We promote the Two Davies show. That's different. But this show, I don't share my videos. I don't do public speaking. Except for through this medium at the moment. So I'm getting too self-important. Nobody asks you to watch, folks. If you think I'm becoming too big for my boots and you see me on every platform trying to drag in attention to myself, or you see me sharing things, or you see me going into merchandising to try and make money out of this, stop watching me. That's never been my intention. I don't self-promote. You want to watch, you watch. You don't want to watch, you don't want to watch. Can't be any further than that. Right, so great news is, yes, it's doing well. We also now know that the date for the SNP conference on the route map going forward. And it will be spring this year, March 19th, I think it was, I can't remember. I should have picked the book up and had a look, but I can't be bothered, just went off and one. I'm being attacked by your friends because they don't like the truth. It's a hard thing you have to put up with. Because as I said yesterday, well, the people in the Alpha Party are all friends, a lot of them are friends of mine. But it doesn't distort the truth, folks. It doesn't. It doesn't change the truth. You know. Right, else if we go. Aye. Christ, look at the time. I haven't even done the paper review. Anyway, Michelle moans in the crap. She's selling up and heading for a house as one of the companies that she bullied the government into getting a PPE contract today is being sued. And say COP17 is coming to an end in Canada where all nations who attended agreed to protect ecosystems and the natural planet. Of course, we know that's a lot of crap if the UK signed up to that, because in England they're destroying the ecosystem by pumping shite into the water, and they're about to open a new open cast mine. There goes climate change with the windy for you. Wow, so if the UK government signed up to this, it's another lie. Another lie. Right, folks, let's get a quick rundown of the papers and I'll get off. I didn't realise it was going to take me so long to waffle my way through today, but I hope you found it entertaining. I hope you find it informative. So what's the papers go? Scotland's papers, FM slams Clarkson and PPE sued and gender clash. So here we go. The National has FN condemns horrible Clarkson comments. So the rest is. The man should never be allowed anywhere near a newspaper or a television set again. The Daily Record calls Clarkson a pig. The Daily Star says Clarkson says soz for being such a moron. He's not sorry at all. Picture a smug git on the front of the paper. The Times has moaned PPE firm defiant over 122 million legal action. And nation seal global deal to preserve the natural world. I heard it. The Metro has moaned PPE firm sued for 122 million. The Looney Rag, the Daily Fail has PPE firm linked to moan is sued for 122 million. The Herald has UN experts clash on self-ID ahead of gender reform. And this is, as you know, 22 other countries have made these changes to their gender recognition acts. But hey, Scotland's doing it, so we need everybody in the world to stick their boot in. So we've had a couple of UN officials put their nebs in. One saying, no, it'll work fine. The other one saying, no, this is a danger to women. So there you go. The Scotsman has consultant vacancies double Scottish government's claim. And that is Scotland is currently missing enough doctors to staff an entire large hospital, according to figures unearthed by leading doctors' union published in the Scotsman. The BMA tells the paper consultant vacancies across the country remain worryingly high. Across the world, it remains worryingly high, to be honest. We're not training enough people, and not enough people want to get into the profession. And there isn't enough international healthcare staff out there that we can go and poach from other places. Because when you think about it, poaching a healthcare staff from other parts of the world was only being detrimental to their own health in the country that we take their healthcare experts from. So we have to train more. The Scottish Daily Express has get round the table and end Scotland's strike misery. Wow, they really are lunatics, aren't they, the Express? The Scottish Government's been round the table. It's settled most of them. I think we're still getting the teachers. That's about it. The Eye runs on the COP in Canada, and it says the Eye leads with historic deal struck to save Earth's nature. It says almost 200 governments have signed the pledge to halt destruction of rainforests, oceans, coral reefs, and that's 30% of the world's land, seas, and coasts will be looked after. 30%, we need a wee bit more than that. The Telegraph has a dramatic drop in numbers of workers, and that's the story I've been talking about. 500,000 people who could afford to say bugger it during the pandemic have now come back into the workforce. But that also links back to the trade union thing. I mean, we're getting to a point where we're going to find the government is going to do away with our rights that much that they'll be able to conscript us into work that they want us to do. And the only way you'll be able to change job is if you're being offered another job to move to immediately, because there'll be no safety net in the middle. We don't do the sun, so that's the rags for you today, folks. So that's me ease myself back in. So I hope you found today's show informative as a wee catch up on last week. But going forward this week and forward from today, we'll go back to the normal format where I'll report on the day before's news. It's just I was off for a week, so I thought I'd cover some of the bigger stories for last week. So I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it informative, folks. All right. And as I say, the personal attacks for myself, I really don't care. I don't care. Lay it on. It doesn't change the truth. Alpa, if you want to make inroads, stop attacking the existing structures and start making offers to the people that we can buy. Something we can vote for. Yeah. Other than Alpa for independence. Last time I looked, there's no referendum, there's no plebiscite election coming up until we decide what we're going to do. So Alpa for independence means nothing. There's 2.6 million years for independence. There you go. Now, to say, remember folks, support the independent media. And that doesn't mean me. No, but support the independent media, Broadcasting Scotland, Independence Live, Indie Live Radio, Caledon Media, Trues Radio, the iScot magazine, the national newspaper. And if you like what I do, as I say, I don't want your money. I'm not sharing this video. I'm not self-promoting. But if you like what I've got to say, and you think others should hear it, share it around. If you're on YouTube, press the like button, press the subscribe button, press the bell notification icon, and you'll get notified when I'm coming on. If you're on Facebook, when I end this broadcast, give me 5 minutes before you share it, because I need to change it to public, because Meta is limiting my reach. Okay, so as I say, but that's up to you. I won't be sharing this video anywhere, except for on my timeline and on our YouTube channel. I don't do self-promotion. So this idea that I'm getting too big for my boots, well, I'm not on the stage at every do, at every gathering. I'm not up there ranting and raving on stages. I'm not trying to get myself in front of cameras anywhere. I just do this show for you guys, reflecting on the news and breaking it down. Whether you choose to share it or not. I thank you very much for watching though. I do. It gives me a reason to keep making these things. Now, apparently I need to move on because the Madam Director wants me kicked out of my office so she can get in and clean the place. So that's an end to it. Right, so support the independent broadcasters. And some of these people out there, they have a crowdfunder going. And you've got a couple of shekels to spare. Throw it in the pot. Some of them do right good stuff, you know. But I don't need your money. Right. And of course, remember, we're in the winter flu season. The pandemic's still going on in the background. Follow the last two bits of guidance. Clean hands and surfaces regularly. And mask up when in closed public spaces, especially if you're feeling a wee bit under the weather. Think about your friends and your neighbours and mask up if you're a wee bit under the weather. All right. You look after yourself, guys. I'll be back tomorrow for the usual format. We'll start off with what the papers say today, what the big stories were for yesterday. We'll debunk the bollocks that's in them, and then we'll go into what the papers say tomorrow morning. All right, the usual format. You guys have a nice day. Look after yourselves. Good to be back. See you all